There are thousands of nerves in our body that help transmit messages to and from the brain. Some of them are quite long while others are very short. So in today's lesson, we will be looking at 10 different types of nerve pathways and their routes. But before we get into the video, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell for notifications. This will help the channel grow and help reach more people with medical education. And if you guys have any suggestions for future videos or topics you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. At number 10, we have the corticospinal tract. The corticospinal tract is one of the most important pathways in the central nervous system. It originates in the cerebral cortex and terminates in the spinal cord. This pathway is responsible for controlling voluntary movements of the limbs and trunk. There are two types of corticospinal tracts, the lateral and anterior. The lateral corticospinal tract crosses over to the opposite side of the body after it leaves the brainstem. It then travels down through the spinal cord and ends in the ventral horn, where it synapses with motor neurons that control the muscles of the opposite side. The anterior corticospinal tract does not cross over to the opposite side until it reaches the spinal cord. It then synapses with motor neurons that control the muscles on the same side as the tract. So, the corticospinal tract is an example of a direct pathway because it synapses with lower motor neurons that directly control muscle movement. Number 9, we have the dorsal column medial lemniscus. This is a pathway that carries sensations of touch, vibration, and proprioception from the skin, muscles, and tendons to the brain. The pathway starts in the periphery, where specialized receptors in the skin, muscles, and tendons are stimulated. These receptors send signals along peripheral nerves to the spinal cord. In the spinal cord, the signals are transmitted to second-order neurons whose cell bodies are located in the dorsal horn. The second-order neurons then send their axons to the brainstem and thalamus, where they synapse with third-order neurons. The third-order neurons then project to the somatosensory cortex, where the signals are processed and the sensations are perceived. The dorsal column medial lemniscus consists of 3 separate pathways: the touch pathway, the vibration pathway, and the proprioception pathway. The touch pathway carries sensations of light touch, pressure, and texture to the brain. The vibration pathway carries sensations of vibration, and the proprioception pathway carries information about body position and movement. Number 8, the spinocerebellar tract. This is a pathway that carries information about body position and movement to the cerebellum. There are 2 types of spinocerebellar tracts: the dorsal spinocerebellar tract and the ventral spinocerebellar tract. Both tracts originate in the spinal cord and terminate in the cerebellum. The dorsal spinocerebellar tract carries information about body position and movement from the trunk and lower limbs. The ventral spinocerebellar tract carries information about body position and movement from the upper limbs and neck. The dorsal spinocerebellar tract begins in the spinal cord and sends its axons to the dorsal column nuclei in the medulla oblongata. From here, the axons project to the cerebellum via the dorsal spinocerebellar pathway. The ventral spinocerebellar tract begins in the spinal cord and sends its axons to the ventral spinocerebellar nucleus in the midbrain. From here, the axons project to the cerebellum via the ventral spinocerebellar pathway. Number 7, the vestibulospinal tract. This is a pathway that carries signals from the vestibular system to the spinal cord. The vestibular system is responsible for our sense of balance and spatial orientation. The vestibulospinal tract helps to maintain posture and balance by sending signals to the spinal cord that adjust muscle activity. The vestibular system consists of 3 semicircular canals and 2 otolith organs. The semicircular canals are responsible for detecting rotational movements of the head, while the otolith organs are responsible for detecting linear movements of the head. When the head moves, the fluid in the semicircular canals and otolith organ shifts, which stimulates hair cells to send signals along the vestibular nerve to the brainstem. In the brainstem, the signals are processed and sent to the spinal cord via the vestibulospinal tract. The vestibulospinal tract is important for maintaining posture and balance. For example, when you turn your head to the right semicircular canal is stimulated, which sends a signal to the left side of the spinal cord via the left vestibulospinal tract. This causes the muscles on the left side of the body to contract and the muscles on the right side of the body to relax, which helps to keep your body upright. Number 6, the reticulospinal tract. This pathway originates in the reticular formation in the brainstem and projects to the spinal cord. The reticular formation is a complex network of neurons that plays an important role in regulating muscle tone and coordinating movement. The reticulospinal tract is one of several pathways that contribute to the regulation of muscle tone. It does this by sending signals to alpha and gamma motor neurons in the spinal cord. Alpha motor neurons innervate extrafusal muscle fibers and are responsible for generating muscle force. Gamma motor neurons innervate intrafusal muscle fibers and are responsible for regulating the sensitivity of muscle spindles. The reticulospinal tract is also involved in the coordination of movement. It does this by interacting with other motor systems, such as the corticospinal tract and basal ganglia. By interacting with these systems, the reticulospinal tract helps to smooth and coordinate movements and also helps to suppress unwanted movements. Number 5. The rubrispinal tract. This pathway originates in the red nucleus in the midbrain and projects to the spinal cord. It is one of several pathways that are involved in the control of upper limb movements. The rubrispinal tract is most active during the initiation and planning of movements rather than during the execution of movements. It is thought that the rubrispinal tract helps to select the appropriate muscle groups for movement and helps to coordinate the timing of muscle contractions. The rubrispinal tract is also involved in the learning of new motor skills. It is thought that the rubrispinal tract is involved in the acquisition and storage of motor memories, which allows for the rapid execution of learned movements. The rubrispinal tract is one of several pathways that are involved in the control of upper limb movements. It is thought that the rubrispinal tract is most active during the initiation and planning of movements rather than during the execution of movements. Number 4. The tectospinal tract. This is a pathway that originates in the midbrain and projects to the spinal cord. It is involved in the control of head and neck movements in response to visual and auditory stimuli. The tectospinal tract is activated when there is a sudden, unexpected stimulus, such as a loud noise or a bright light. The pathway then sends signals to the spinal cord, which cause the head and neck to move towards the source of the stimulus. The tectospinal tract is thought to be involved in the orienting reflex, which is a reflexive movement towards a stimulus. The tectospinal tract is also involved in the control of eye movements. When the head and eyes move towards a stimulus, the tectospinal tract helps to coordinate the movement of the two systems. Number 3. The subjectum tract. This pathway originates in the pons and projects to the spinal cord. It is involved in the control of breathing and other autonomic functions. The abutment tract is important for maintaining homeostasis by ensuring that breathing is coordinated with other bodily functions such as heart rate and blood pressure. The pathway does this by sending signals to the spinal cord which control the muscles involved in breathing. The abutment tract is also involved in the regulation of sleep. The pathway is active during REM sleep and is thought to be involved in the paralysis of the muscles that occurs during this stage of sleep. Number 2, we have the pontine reticular formation. This is a group of neurons that are located in the pons and are involved in the control of breathing and other autonomic functions. The pontine reticular formation is active during REM sleep and is thought to be involved in the paralysis of the muscles that occurs during this stage of sleep. The pontine reticular formation is also involved in the regulation of arousal and attention. The pathway is active when we are alert and awake and sends signals to the cerebral cortex to promote wakefulness. Lastly, at number 1, we have the olivopontocerebral pathway. This pathway originates in the inferior olivary nucleus in the medulla oblongata and projects to the cerebellum via the pontocerebellar pathway. It is involved in the coordination of movement and the perception of time. The olivopontocerebellar pathway is thought to be involved in the learning of new motor skills by providing feedback to the cerebellum about the accuracy of movements. The pathway is also involved in the regulation of muscle tone and the suppression of unwanted movements. So hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any suggestions for future videos or topics you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.